Hello, beautiful humans. This is Jennifer Norman, and I am so excited to be here with you today with Matt Newman. And he is better known as Matt Loves Hair. You've probably seen him on TikTok. He's got 1 million followers. He's got almost 200,000 followers right now on Instagram and climbing. I'm sure tomorrow it'll be like 100 million. He is an absolute treasure. When I discovered Matt on TikTok, I was number one, just entranced by number one, his gorgeous looks and his hair. But beyond that, his personality. You just can't find anybody sweeter, anybody kinder. He will randomly stop people on the street and give them products, which is, in my book, one of the greatest things that could ever happen to a person to brighten up their day. So, welcome, Matt. I'm so happy that you're here.
Hi, I am so happy to be connected with you and your amazing initiative and everything that you have going on.
Thank you so much. It's really
Of
great to
course.
speak to you today. And so, of course, I want to dive right into it because everybody wants to know, like, what is it? I mean, you've got this amazing head of hair and you know all the tips and the tricks and what to do with it and what not to do with it. But, what was it that made you realize that you wanted to pursue a career in hair?
Thank you for asking, first of all, such a sweet question. I went to beauty school right after I graduated college. When I was getting my undergrad degree, I had a boyfriend who was not in college, and I always was telling him he should go to beauty school because he loved all of that. And, he loved it all. He loved all glam, everything. And he never really wanted to. And then when I was out of school and thinking about what I wanted to do, I was like, why do I think only Gary gets to go to beauty school just because he didn't do an undergrad? I could do that if I wanted. So, you know what? I signed up for school in New York and I lived my whole life in Michigan and I moved to Manhattan and I went to school in Union Square in a beauty school that is now defunct, no longer exists.
What are some of your role models? Did you have any when you were growing up, or do you have any now?
Yes, of course. I have always had a really sweet spot in my heart for Pamela Anderson. I have adored, when I was young, that was one of the first people in media. I'm 34. So when I was young was kind of the Baywatch era, and I was enamored with her. I loved Pamela Anderson. I've always loved Pamela Anderson. And I'm loving now that she's back in the forefront and he's seeing just more. I adore Pamela Anderson and I love everything she does. Such a graceful beauty. That is how I perceive her. And I've always been very drawn to glamorous women. They just make me feel alive. They make me feel excited. And, she's the height of glamour to me.
I have to say that I think men, women, we all have crushes on Pamela Anderson. Let's face it. I think that the first time that I saw her, she was actually an extra on Married with Children. And
I loved that show when I was little.
Al Bundy was like following her down the aisles of a store or something, and he kept dropping stuff to make her like bend over. And,
oh my goodness! Well, it's funny you say that. Kelly Bundy was absolutely another one of my role models growing up. I lived for Kelly Bundy. I wanted to be
the style,
everything. She just commanded every ounce of everything with her glamour and her beauty. I was so enamored with Kelly Bundy.
Yeah.
So amazing you say that.
Well, I think that it's interesting because when, Pamela Anderson was, in the throes, I mean, it's like the unapologetic divine feminine incarnate, it's just like she was and continues to be just drop dead gorgeous. And it's like the epitome of what LA style is. I actually have a fun pseudo Baywatch story, which is not with Pamela Anderson, but with David Hasselhoff. And I have to share this because it's hilarious. I was back in college on the dance team. Like, it was kind of like Laker girls. We would perform at all of the basketball games. And at this particular point, we were in the cheering and dancing championships that they used to show on ESPN. And so
Oh,
we went down to San Antonio, and we're all staying, a bunch of girls are, staying at this, like, I guess it was like a Marriott hotel where they had the pool and the hot tub, and we're all kind of hanging out in the hot tub and the pool. Lo and behold, there comes David Hasselhoff. He's like filming something there, and we're all like, oh my God. And so when somebody says, oh my God, that's David, I immediately like get out, like jump out of the pool. And I was like, how's it going? And all of a sudden he looked at me and it was like, oh, hi. And then I turned around and I was like, well, that was a strange kind of a reaction. And then my girlfriends are like, Jennifer, your bathing suit top. It had completely come down. And yes, I flashed the Hoff when I was in college.
Jennifer, I was not expecting that to be the
no one
punchline of
is
the
prepared
story.
for that story, but I have this random tendency of flashing people, and this is perpetuated throughout my life. We can have drinks sometime, and I can tell you a little bit more about it. But that was a defining moment in my life. Let's just say.
That is hysterical. First of all, lucky David Hasselhoff.
I know.
And he got a lucky break that day. And also, thank you for sharing. That's hysterical. I adore that.
I know. I just wanted to crawl under a rock and die, but at this point, it's a story for old time's sake.
It's a good one. It's a good story.
For sure. I want to ask you, there are so many people who would describe beauty as one way or another. I would love to know, like, how would you define beauty? What do you think beauty is to you?
It's very interesting. I think about that a lot more now as someone like kind of in a category described as beauty content creation.
Yeah.
And I've been asked about that before, and it's not necessarily, I have a hard time putting into words what I think that is, but what I would say is that to me, beauty is when you're able to take a representation of what feels good inside and feel comfortable that is connected to what you're projecting outside. Yeah. So it's definitely a connection there. It's got to come from what feels good inside to then sort of a manifestation in how you can present outside.
Yeah. I like to think of us all as like gods and goddesses and almost like these mythical creatures and beings in our imaginations. And it's like, this is who I really am inside. And even though I'm wearing skin and hair and all of this, like how you feel that power, that magic, that essence, if you can in any way, like with your jewelry or with, your hair color, your lashes, I mean, drag is like the most fascinating phenomenon. Tell me about it, right? I mean, these are gods and goddesses. But yeah, you're exactly right. I think it's like if you can show up in the world as manifesting the true self, that authentic person or being, divine being that you're really holding within you, and just happy about it and not worrying about the criticism, right? Not worrying about what anybody else thinks, because it's none of your business what they think. It's their business, right, what they think. And it's often a reflection on what they think about themselves. But, if you can go out into the world, that is inspiring.
And I agree. And to me, it feels that there is no one beauty. It's like that is the representation that everyone's is so individual. There will never be one standard of beauty. And I love that we're in this place these days where that's finally recognized.
I agree. I mean, I think about like the beauty, like the essence of beauty, or what people thought was beauty over time, and how rigid it was and how strict it was and how fear-based, frankly, it was more than anything, right? It wasn't liberating. It wasn't like show your own style. It was more like, do you fit in? And can we accept you the way that you are? Or do we need to mold you and like, fashion you to look like something that we're expecting of you, right?
Right.
I have on my website, it's interesting that this phrase, like, pretty is a look, but beauty is a feeling. And something about that to me is like, if you feel in love with yourself, if you've got that self-esteem and that self-confidence, that is beauty. That's the positivity that goes forth. And then, all this might be pretty, but, if you really are living and looking like your truth, and amen. I think that that's the best thing, right?
I think so too. I really think so too. And it's lovely to be in a time where this conversation is even taking place.
Yeah, I think about Asian cultures in the past where it was all about like the white skin, the certain kind of hair, almost like a geisha modality or foot binding, or, I've been like diving into like cultural roots of certain traditions and rituals in
Mm.
beauty. And I'm like, man, I'm so happy that I live in this time where you can be you and I can be me. It's just, it's so much better. I
Yeah.
really, I feel the same way. So I'm curious, like, have you always felt this way, or has your relationship with your own sense of beauty changed as, you've grown and you've developed in your career? What do you think?
It's I'm gonna be totally honest and say that my career as a hairstylist leading up to content creation was definitely a factor in determining that sense of we all bring our beauty from within.
Hmm.
My career in content creation, it's actually tough. It wears down that armor of positivity. Being on an app where you're so easily compared to someone else and so quantifiable by what your reaction on the platform, different platforms are.
Yeah.
It's hard. It is hard, actually. It takes a toll on that ability to let the beauty come from within. And I fall into that pitfall of comparison and,
Hmm.
wanting to, I guess, be like the things that I see that I admire. And I used to have an easier time really walking the walk and talking the talk of that beauty coming from within. And it hasn't diminished. And I'm not being fake and phony when I say it now, but the work on social media, it makes it a little harder, honestly, because I'm spending every day editing pictures of myself, editing video of myself. Worse than pictures is editing the videos all day.
Yeah.
It's a little too much me. It's a little too much me. And then every time you go to post it, you see other people, and it's hard not to compare. So I think that my work as a hairstylist, working with real people, real clients, and even in the fashion industry, because I always worked behind the scenes in fashion leading up to content creation, all of that really established where I believe that sense of beauty coming from within came from.
Hmm.
The social media makes it a little trickier. But that gives me more resolution to, if even if I have to fake it till I make it and show my forehead wrinkles, show no filter, show minimal, lighting. I have a ring light here. It's only for like filming in the winter because you get, with no lighting you can get pixelated.
Yeah.
But I try to let the frizzies show, let
Yeah.
the lines show, let the mismatched curls show. It's because I know how I feel after 2 years of being sucked into beauty social media, knowing that it can be hard. It can wear on you, seeing all these perfect images. I'm like, let me continue to share imperfect, please, because I'd rather contribute to that.
Number one, thank you so much for your honesty and for sharing that. These are the words that a lot of people don't hear. They don't hear about as a content creator because everybody always thinks, oh, the internet looks so glamorous and everybody is having such a great time. And then, people are sitting there scrolling, being like, oh my God, I just I can't compete. And for you to be able to say that and share that message, number one, it's hella true. I mean, if you're thinking about trying to compete with algorithms, and people thinking about, okay, well, what's going to be getting the most likes, 7 seconds on TikTok, or if I can use this, particular background music, or, if I do this kind of a before and after with this voiceover and these, I mean, it's almost like it becomes a science and it becomes so technical. Yeah, that you've got to think about. It does take a lot of that like freedom of love and the joy out of what you're originally doing, and that's part of the work, I suppose, right? And but yeah, I'm wondering if we, like, conversations like this can continue to get to the TikToks and the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the, those that are creating these platforms, all of the filters, which, are entertaining, let's face it, and then some of them are problematic if used in the wrong way. But again, it's a very personal thing, if if somebody chooses to use a filter because they think it's hilarious, or if they think that, oh, I'm, this brightness in my eyes, it's like helping me to manifest the me that I want, then that's that person, that's, and there's no judgment, there's no shaming of anybody that uses filters. At one point I was there, I kind of was like, okay, nobody should be using filters. I thought it was toxic. The word toxic is overused, but, but I was just like, you know what? Let's like stop for a moment and say, here, I'm having this conversation, I'm sharing this because this is how I'm feeling about me right now. And this is a journey, and it's a continual process for me to continue to find that joy and see how I can, elevate the magic within what I'm doing, even despite all of these things, because there's always going to be these things at work, right? No matter if you're a content creator or if you're sitting in an office somewhere, there's always going to be the turkeys that are going to get you down, right?
Right. And honestly, I take no issue with other people using filter. Like, do whatever makes you happy. I personally don't think I could handle editing content of myself filtered all day, because I post a video every single day. So whether it's 15 seconds or a minute, that's that's a bit of work where I'm watching my own image.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I were to consume myself filtered all day every day, it would be even harder to reconcile reality. So I am completely open to anyone doing whatever they want. I just know that for me, I have to kind of keep the filters off my own page.
Amazing.
It's like partly because I like showing real, but also for my own, I have those insecurities. I like the filters. I like how I look with the filters. In fact, I like them so much that I can't use them because I get too sucked into them.
There you go. There you go. And even recognizing that, I think is, they always say it's the first step of healing. It's like the awareness of it is like, okay, I realize that there could be a dependency here, or there could be some sort of a reliance. And if I don't keep it in check for myself, doesn't matter what anybody else says, but if I don't keep it in check for myself, then I may end up feeling this way and then projecting something else, and then the two are not necessarily aligning, and it's all about alignment in the end, right? So I congratulate you for recognizing that, and being in this space and being able, like for me, because I came up in supermodel beauty, it was like, I was the person who was ordering the zits and the stray hairs and the wrinkles to be retouched out. I mean, that was what I did as my career earlier on. And so I feel like I'm almost like trying to, make up for all of, like, I'm atoning right now for all of that. And so, it's kind of like it was extraordinary for me to start seeing people being okay on, like, first on YouTube, because it kind of started on YouTube, like showing their skin and their faces before and then the after. I was like, that is so courageous. Like, and that changed everything. It really
it's inspiring. To me, it's inspiring, and so it's again brings me back to the fact that I'm happy to be here now. Very happy to be here now. Times have changed and it's nice.
Amen. Amen to that. Wow. So, you've got this huge following, as I mentioned, on social media, with like all these people, following you on TikTok and Instagram. And granted, you've gotten to try some fancy products and some tools that I'm like, I have never seen this before. Wow. And so thank you, number one, for introducing me to all these like massive brushes and the dryers and the curling irons and stuff. But like, are there any that like stand out for you as your favorites?
Okay. I test and post it all. I get joy out of it. I get absolute joy out of trying things and sharing them. Nothing will ever top for me a round brush and blow dryer. Like that, I honestly, when I was in beauty school, nobody taught us how to do a good round brush blow dry. I went and took a job at one of those blow dry chains, like blow dry only salons, because I was like, that is the one thing I went to. I wanted to learn how to do that so bad. And I never learned in beauty school. So I was like, let me go get the job at one of these places and just do it 1,000 times till I know how to do it. Yeah. Nothing will ever top a round brush and blow dryer to me. I mean, I just adore that style. You could do it. It works great on healthy hair. It totally conceals dead ends and split ends. it's a magic hair cure-all. I adore a round brush and blow dryer, and I'm yet to find anything I prefer. I mean, I love all the stuff that I've posted. We
Mhm.
had the super viral air wrap winter with everyone receiving,
How
many
in the
people.
world it looks like it almost looks like you're
It's
doing it
physics.
backwards. It
It's
really like
physics.
I'm like, is he reversing? Like so that just
It's
wraps around. It's
pure.
amazing.
So it's pure physics. It's the twist. There's little, those pink slits are air coming out. Yeah, out, not in. The air is coming out, and it creates like centrifugal force
Oh
that
my
literally does that. And then the
goodness.
warm air sets the texture of the curl.
Wow.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Very user friendly. It's a great consumer product. As a hairstylist, there is nothing I'll ever love more than a round brush and blow dryer.
Wow. So round brush, like ceramic, what kind of bristles? Like, is there
All
anything?
of it. Any see that, and
Anything? Okay.
that's where you can get that's where you can get specific for hair type and texture and desired outcome. There's,
Ah,
basically a metal brush. Tell me if this is boring, but a
no,
metal
intriguing.
base. So, okay, good, great. I'm in good company. So, a metal base of a brush is going to give you maximum like curl definition because
Okay.
that hot metal brush is acting like a curling iron.
Right.
If you have a wooden base of a brush, you're going to get less of that curl shape because the wood is not heating up and setting the
Mm,
texture.
mm.
Boar bristles are going to give you maximum smoothness,
Ah,
especially for any type of texture. If you have even wave to type 4C texture hair, the boar bristle really is going to silky and smooth out that
mhm.
strand. And the plastic bristles give more volume.
Interesting.
So, and then there's combinations of it all. There's metal based with boar bristles, there's wood based with boar bristles, there's metal based plastic. You can find it all.
Wow, that is so cool. It's funny because my hair is usually pretty darn straight because I'm
Okay.
100% Korean. And I used to be like, my hair was always down to my butt for the longest time. And it's just been getting so just damaged. And like I color it. I've got so much gray hair coming in. And so I'm like highlighting and coloring. And I recently found something which is like this. I did an Ulta run and I found this, which I thought was kind of interesting. So I tried that and it puts like these rose gold kind of tones in,
Ooh,
which
I love
I have to
it.
say, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with
Love
it.
it.
Okay.
How
Yeah.
fun.
So I've always been like really hair involved because like I back in the day, I actually helped to launch the Feria hair color line when it first came out, like 25 years ago. Believe it or not, that was like
Iconic.
one of the first things that I ever launched. And I can't believe it's still around today. So that was super fun. So, and I've worked in hair care too, but when I actually had like obtained a stepdaughter through marriage who was half Black, half Puerto Rican. And her hair was so beautifully naturally curly. And I didn't know what to do with it. Here I was with my Mason Pearson brush, like trying to brush it. And it was a lesson in just, trial and error for sure for her growing up. And it was a lot of just like throw it up in a bun.
It happens. I feel that is its own sort of issue in the hair care industry. That's its whole own topic. I was fortunate. I went to beauty school in New York City. So I'd never done hair. I went almost, as I said, kind of on an idea and a whim. I went to beauty school in New York City. That is every texture, every
Yeah.
type, everything from the teachers to the classmates to the clients that came in. So and then I aspired to work in fashion. So you
Mm.
cannot show up to a photo shoot and not be able to do one of the model's hair. It happens and it's
Yeah.
really unprofessional of people and it's horrifying and it's
Yeah.
humiliating to watch them go through that. It's
Yeah.
so wrong. And I've seen it happen where another stylist on a set said they could, not perform for whatever reasons on this, whatever texture.
Mm.
I'm always horrified for those people. And I would feel like just gutted if I had to say that to someone. So, I feel it's own, the whole, I actually just recorded content with a friend yesterday where we went shampoo shopping in the store in the aisle. That's a new little series I'm doing, taking people to like Target and Ulta and
Yeah.
helping pick stuff out. So we went for her type
Is that the picture
4C.
where you're standing in front of the contraception, by the way?
Yep.
Okay. Just wanted
That
to
was
ask.
yesterday. Yeah, that was yesterday. Because I was like, we'll do a teaser. I was like, we're gonna leave the hair aisle.
That
We'll
is
take a
tease,
selfie.
that's for sure.
I was like, because we were just at that point, we were just walking around the store having fun, chit chatting. We were done filming everything. I was like, oh, let's take a selfie before we go. And so I'm gonna post it later this week, but I want to share your beautiful smile today. So, and then I realized we were standing in front of the pregnancy test. I was like, that's funny. Let's do it. I was like, I get a kid. So it's just so fun to, shot. I had a blast doing that yesterday. I cannot wait to post the content. It's going to be so fun.
Yeah, I have been reading, in beauty news and such about the lack of training for textured and, African American hair, Latina hair, like the different kinds of like coarse to curly hair. And I think that it's nice to bring visibility to it. I think that hopefully there'll be more training within schools and there'll be more hiring within salons and all of that for sure.
It was honestly, to me, I was very shocked when I got out in the field in the industry because my beauty school was just so every single, and I'm not just saying every type of curl, every type of thin, fine, loose hair, every type of straight, coarse hair. Literally, we had people from every walk of life, from probably every continent. We had people from everywhere, teachers, classmates, clients. I can do whatever I can do on one person's hair, I can do on anybody else's. And I just thought that was part of the deal. And I was shocked to get out into the field and see that that wasn't the case for a lot of people.
Wow.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, yeah, I'm glad that you were able to get your training in NYC, the place to be.
NYC, the place to be. Honestly, I was so surprised when I got out into the world and would hear people say, I can't do that texture.
Yeah. Speaking of New York, I think a lot of people are curious, like aside from doing content, I know that consumes most of your time every day, but what's it like to be you and in like your average day? Like, do you wake up? Do you have a routine? Do you have a little ritual? You've got dogs, I understand.
Yes, I have to. Okay, my dog wakes me up every single morning. He is up before me. He jumps on top of me. He licks my face. He's ready to go. He is my alarm clock. No, first thing we do is hit the street. First thing, I leave I always go to bed with my jacket, my wallet, the leash, the poop bag, all of it ready there because I don't want to be running around the house looking for it anymore. There is no waiting for him. He's up. He's ready. Take a walk around the neighborhood with the dog. That's step one. I try really hard not to open social media, at least for like an hour or so, but I fail that mission every most of the time. Most of the time I fail that. So definitely a lot of peeking and scrolling.
Yeah.
I used to just be a real everyday hairstylist. It used to be always, I was freelance. I worked aspiring in the fashion industry. I was an assistant for a decade. I was an assistant on set to a hairstylist in fashion shoots. I always say stylist and people think I mean clothes. I was a hair assistant in fashion for 10 years. And what really kept everything afloat during that period was lots of odd jobs. I did glam squad. I did dry bar. I did prib, all of the at-home blowouts. I did it all. I did hair for the dancers at a gentleman's club. I used to go like 4 nights a week. I would go at about 6 p.m. and go do the girls.
What an elevated gentleman's club.
It was very elevated. It was very sophisticated. It was a lovely place. To me, that's really where I went. I worked there for almost 7 years, and I only stopped at the pandemic when it closed during lockdown. That to me was really where I grew up. I went into that job a very naive person, and I came out of it the me that I am now. Mm-hmm. So I hold that place in a very special place in my heart. I'm still friends with a lot of the women that I worked with there. But now my routine is completely different. I have not taken clients in over a year. So every day is more content creation. I'm fortunate enough to have partnerships going on most of the time. So it's a lot of balancing, creating the creative stuff for the organic stuff, and then working on getting the partnership content all worked out. It's a whole shebang.
So did this transition happen because of COVID, you think?
Absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
did.
I did not really use social media other than out of friendly happy birthdays and this, or, little vacation pictures and such. I didn't use social media seriously until COVID.
Wow. And so was that when you discovered TikTok? Or did you have an
Yes.
Instagram first and then
I
TikTok?
had it. No, I always had a personal Instagram account just for fun, just keep up with friends and more to consume. I was like a watcher, not a poster, really. And during that first lockdown, I took a video of my neighbors across the street trying to do the Savage by Megan the Stallion dance on the roof, and they were failing, that they could not get it together. And I made little jokey voiceover as they were doing it, because this is before the voiceover option on TikTok even existed. So recorded it all in the app, speaking live, making little jokies. And the video got a couple million views over the course of a week or two.
Wow.
Which was shocking. And I think about 3 or 4 thousand people just clicked follow off of that video. And I thought, that's really ridiculous. I did not even think about, I forgot that people could go viral. You could gain a following. And I'm not a comedian. I am a silly and fun, and I'm always smiling, but I'm not great at like presenting jokes to the camera, which is fine. Not everyone's got to do everything.
Right.
So I was like, I can't really keep up the funny stuff. It was kind of a moment in time that I captured and had fun with. And my boyfriend said to me, "Oh, you should make hair videos. People love videos about hair." I was like, "Oh, duh, I'm a hairstylist. I could do that."
Yeah.
And I did. So I blow dried my hair and I made a video that totally flopped. It was not interesting and it did not click. But while my hair was blow dried for the next few days and straightened, I was like, oh, I'll just keep making stuff while my hair is straightened. And at the end of the week, one of the things I finally had a good idea. And it was this thing that I remember I do that people were always surprised by, like a little styling trick that I felt like other people do, but most people don't think of.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, I'll make a video about that. I'll make a video about that. And it did well. And then from then on, I just haven't stopped.
Wow. Like, how long was it before you realized that this could be a career or at least something that could really support you, frankly, for a period
I'll
of
tell you what, I knew before I even started. The minute he said my boyfriend said you should make hair videos, I was like, duh, people do fabulous presenting beauty content online.
time?
I never consumed beauty content. I was not familiar with YouTube. But I did know as a hairstylist that there were people out there who showed every single client, every single everything, and you would see them with sponsorships and collaborations with brands paying to be a part of their presentation. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh yeah, duh, that exists. That's a great way to, I was completely out of work for that first month of lockdown, or, like
Mhm.
all of my freelance jobs disappeared. All of my side hustle app at home hair blow dries kaput. The
Yeah.
club doors are closed.
Yeah.
So the minute Jeffrey said the thing about making hair videos, I was like, duh, like that's its own career path that I could do off my phone right here.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. So do you remember like what was your first sponsorship or something like were you approached
Yes.
first of all, or did you kind of hustle and do your own like hustling and out to find sponsors?
I will, to this day, the best partnerships are the things that they come to they seek me out. Like everything where it's where the brand is looking for me in the first place,
Mhm.
that's always what goes best. Those are natural. Oftentimes it's because I've shown the products in my it's, or I organically use it. So it's something I can easily say yes to without having to test the product. I've used it for years or maybe
Mhm.
20, whatever it may be. Those are always almost all of my partnerships are like that. Every
Mhm.
once in a while, something comes my way that I test out for weeks, if not months, before getting ready to present it, as if it's up to my standards, to be honest. I take really seriously, I take it
Yeah, you
very
should.
seriously, not including things I don't really like. I just can't go there.
Yeah, no, the
Um,
honesty is so important. Without that, if You really
It
have
would
to
all
be
fall.
like, you know what, this is not working for me, and this is working for me, and
Right.
that's where you lean into the things that are really working for you.
hmm And I've had to say no. I've had to say no. I'm not going to say what, because one of my
Sure, no,
friends
no.
uses the term "don't yuck my yum." Like, if anything can be good for anyone, but I
Right.
have to feel that genuine connection. But my first sponsorship ever was, and it came my way, it was so random. Birchbox Men's Grooming. They have a special box
Yes,
that's all,
yes.
facial hair, and it's not makeup and stuff like that. And I was floored. I thought it was the coolest thing that ever happened. I was so excited. It was one video, and it was not a huge rate, but I was very encouraged. And they gave me 6 months of the Birchbox subscription, and I adored it
Woo,
every time I
yes.
got it. Yeah, I loved it.
I know. I imagine that the PR boxes are insane.
It's my it gives me anxiety about my eco footprint. I'm like, my eco footprint is through the roof these days. I've got to do something to like I mean, of course I recycle everything. You
Oh,
know, I try to get everything. I donate a lot. The
oh,
bulk of everything gets donated. It's hard to find people who will accept. A lot of it is not packaged. It's not only are the few things that I've opened and used, but all the other stuff just comes like not shrink wrapped, no, a lot, not in boxes. So
you know what, Matt? You just need to sign it and then, put it up on, for, an auction,
you
and,
are too
you'll
sweet.
be
You know what? My oldest sister is an ophthalmologist, and she basically works in research at a university, but she is affiliated with a free clinic where they started doing ophthalmology appointments for people in need. So we're setting up a whole closet of freebies.
oh,
I'm
that's
gonna get all
so
of my
good.
excess sent over there. That's its own task, because it's been hard. A lot of places can't accept, but because it's my sister's place, they are
Right.
able to say yes. It's all vouched for. We know it's all fine. So that's
Mhm.
going to be a difficult thing getting that all there. But I look forward to the day that's finally set up. That'll be cool. That will make me feel good.
Oh, good. Yeah, I have to agree with you. Number one, because I am in that place where I'm trying to put products together, and I'm very conscientious about the environmental impact of what I'm doing. And so, all of my packaging is recyclable, but I actually have a zero waste program where I will for free give people the shipping label that they can return either my products or whomever else's. It doesn't matter if you get something from Birchbox or send it to my company, and we will send it to TerraCycle so that it gets recycled properly, because I think it's like only 9% of anything that goes
Right.
to your municipal blue bin actually gets
Yeah.
recycled, which is that, kind of a crime, but it's just the fact of the economics of the broken recycling system.
Right.
So, yeah, and I see these videos and these pictures of influencers that just have like stacks and stacks of boxes that they're like, oh my God, I am overwhelmed. I have to get through all of this product. Meanwhile, it would be like, Christmas to
Yeah.
somebody else, but it's anxiety. It's like, oh my God, I have to, people send this to me.
And I'm not, mine is, I don't get those sky high mountains. I'm so niche, and I'm not that person. It doesn't just flood, but it's enough that I'm aware. So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness. And also TerraCycle is amazing. TerraCycle is amazing. I think there's a TerraCycle drop-off center in the
Oh,
city that I really want to go make a video for, like Earth. I know Earth Day is coming up. I need to.
yeah, the
Great
24th.
reminder. I want to go highlight the TerraCycle drop-off center that I'm aware of somewhere downtown. I'm like, oh yeah, let me put that out. Just remind people, because that's a fabulous program. That is a fabulous program. I adore TerraCycle.
Yeah, any little bit that helps. A lot of people think it, like, oh, I'm just one person or one consumer, one household, it's not going to make a difference what I do, but it
It does.
adds up. It's very
hmm
important.
hmm
So yay
Yeah.
for being conscientious.
Yeah. We got to try.
Woo.
We got to
Amazing,
try.
amazing. So, how is it that you remain so positive and optimistic and happy? What is this? What are you drinking? What are you smoking?
All of it, honey. No, I Listen, that question, that statement means a lot to me. I'm flattered that that's how you perceive me, I'm glad that's what's coming out. It's definitely, I try to, in terms of the content that I put out, I try my very hardest to focus in on that side of myself. That is not the 100% all of the time
Sure.
picture of me. I'm a well-rounded, there's more to me than what's on social media. I'm not one of those tell it all to the camera all day, every day people.
Mhm.
And I do keep some of my more complex emotions that are less positive. I do kind of keep those offline and manage those just in my own life and in my own way. So I'm really honored to hear that the perception that's coming along with my pages, those moments of positivity and those moments of community building, because it's important to me. It's really important to me. And interestingly enough, as much as I could say earlier that the social media can be the compare and despair side of it, it also, there's another side to that coin where the community and the feedback and the positivity and the support, it brings me up. It brings me so high up. I answer all my DMs. I get messages from people all
Wow.
day asking questions about tips, how to do this. And those moments are so meaningful to me. It's absolutely so meaningful to me. It's what I used to do all day, every day before the pandemic was, I would have days where I had no photo shoots, and I would do a whole week of glam squad all week. And that's going to someone's different 7, 8, 10, 12 houses a day, meeting
Wow.
a new person, connecting, helping them feel good, helping them, pick the things they need. I miss that. I miss that. And now I get it through answering my DMs. And it does bring me up. It really
It's
makes me feel good.
amazing. Well, I am here to reflect back what I see. And so, yes, what I see is, really genuine positivity. And to your point, and I know it's important to say, it's like, being up all the time, it may not necessarily be the healthiest thing either. You have to, there are these moments where it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be pissed. It's okay to, all of those things are a natural part of wellness too.
Yeah.
But I truly believe, and this might be an odd statement, but I do believe hairstylists are healers. I think that there is something about the power of touch, about the power of being able to have those conversations like therapy sessions for all the persons in your chair, and you are beautifying that person. You're helping to, give that person a, just like a refresh or a touch up or a full on makeover, whatever that they want, so that they can then feel better about themselves too. So I think that it's like a 1 hour, like sometimes in my case, it's a 4 hour, like, healing session. It truly is.
I love hearing you say that. I'm going to be completely candid and say, up till social media, my work as 12 years of it, 11 years of hairstyling, I never had great success. I felt very talented. I always did a fabulous job. I always made my clients very happy. I always did great in whatever I was doing. It's a very competitive industry in New York. I never had a super breakout success moment. And that was challenging. That was
Mhm.
challenging in its own right, especially when I felt very talented. What always kept me going was just what you described, was
Mhm.
exactly what you described. Whether it's a model on a photo shoot that you get to bring up and exalt and show that this industry can be fabulous and kind, whether
Mhm.
it's going to a consumer's, just a regular person's house and doing their hair and connecting that way. I had random job, stand in Bloomingdale's and curl people's hair all day for $50 an hour for a curling iron company.
Yeah.
Even if I talked to people for 5 minutes, that is what kept me so in it. I adore that.
Mhm.
People, they let you put my hands in their head. That's
Yeah.
instant connection. People
Yeah.
are sitting down there trusting me to affect the outcome of how they look. And it's just this instant connection that has always been so meaningful to me. And it carried me through the times of hard work with limited recognition. It really did, because
Mhm.
it meant more to me than anything.
And I think that that's a really good point about what is true success, what is the real meaning of abundance or feeling fulfilled in what you're doing. Because it's not always about the money. It's not about the Benjamins. A lot of times it's that feeling that you are living the way that you want to, and you're really exploring your passions. And if you can get up every day and feel like, oh my God, this is my life. I love it. You know, as long as you have, your basic needs met and you've got people around you that love you, and, you have this appreciation and gratitude inside, then it opens doors. And look at the doors that it opened for you. At the time of a pandemic, when the world was shutting down, you were able to be open to something like that. And that doesn't happen unless you already have that inside you, that feeling of abundance and that feeling of success. And granted, I know it's so easy for us all to get down on ourselves. It's like, oh, I'm getting older, I should be married, or I should be farther along in my career, I should have this title, I should. I often will say, stop shooting on yourself. It's like,
Oh,
really like, no, what you're doing is perfect. Stop shooting on yourself, because
mhm,
that in and of itself will cause your success to be delayed. As long
mhm.
as you feel that you are, moving forward more into the place where you want to be and the life that you want to live, and you're creating magic, then yeah, I think that it comes in all shapes and forms. And I'm ecstatic to see this, like this, that you're manifesting for yourself right now. And I know that I know we're gonna see you on TV, real soon. It's like, I mean, I already see it. Like, there's stuff happening in your vortex that we can have a further conversation about. I'm kind of intuitive that way.
All right, as I always say, your lips to God's ears, baby. Like,
Hey,
we'll
hey.
manifest it.
We've got a direct connection, me and the dude above, the divine daddy. At any rate, just a couple more things, because I know we're soon coming to a close, but let's talk a little bit more about hair. Aside from the round brush and the dryer, are there some other tips that you think is good for, like, people to keep their hair looking its healthy best?
Yeah, I'm always trying to tell people to use leave-in conditioner. And it's
Right.
interesting because some people will say my hair is so greasy and fine and way down. There is not one leave-in conditioner. There
Mhm.
is a whole range.
Yeah.
Those products that people call primers, that's a leave-in conditioner. Those super lightweight spray, there is the whole gamut of the most lightest weight sprays, or in shower, rinse out, but post conditioner product. There's all kinds of things, all the way through heavy custards and creams and
Mhm.
tubs of cholesterol that they call it. That's
Yes.
kind of an old school
Yeah.
one.
Mhm.
All of those things. To me, I try to explain it like this: your hair is a fiber. It's like cotton or silk or any of these things. And you want to treat it with something to help it be protected. So it's kind of like fabric softener. You know how fabric softener preserves the life of your clothes, or
Mhm.
whatever they spray at the dry cleaner before they put the heat on the silk? It's that. We
Mhm.
want to use something like that. It's it really helps preserve that. If you want the length, because if your hair is this short, it's almost like do whatever you want because you're cutting it all off before it's. If you always maintain short hair, all right, do anything you please. But
True.
if you want to have some length, you want to do those things, those healthy, I don't know if I like that term, but those healthy hair habits. So something on the wet hair, even if you're going to go totally unstyled, no blow dryer, nothing, a little something goes a long way protecting your hair from breaking when you put your jacket on. These little things we don't even think about. It's not just that the curling iron damages your hair. It's
Mhm.
twirling my hair on my finger. It's zipping up my sweatshirt. It's putting on a
Mhm.
jacket, or laying on the couch, or sitting on an airplane with your head. Traction damage. That's a whole
Yeah.
type of hair damage.
Yeah.
So some sort of leave-in will always benefit that. And I talk about that a lot. I feel like I talk about that all the time. I also this is a tough one, and I get some really negative visceral reactions to this. I don't recommend hot water on it. I don't think it's great for your scalp, the skin, just in terms of dryness, really, because hot water is so drying. It's also not good for the length. Um, Super hot water, and that doesn't mean that it's got to be cold.
Mhm.
Lukewarm is its own fair play. Do I love taking a lukewarm shower? I sure don't. I sure don't. And if I'm not washing my hair and I've got it all pinned up in a way, I will take a hot shower because I'll sacrifice my dry skin faster than I'll sacrifice dry hair. So I know the joy and the love of a hot shower, but you know what? The hot water, that really hot water can be very hard on your hair and your scalp.
Interesting. Yeah.
People hate to hear that. I hate to be the one to tell it to them. I'm
You
always like, I'm
know,
sorry.
I have seen those videos of people doing the, the ice bath plunges. I just don't get it. I'm like, more power to you. I'm gonna take my hot shower and I'm gonna sit there for a few minutes
Right.
and feel luxuriated. But yeah, no, you're exactly right. I think that the stretching and even like they were saying, like the towel drying, the
Right.
skin and all of that, using something with padding. I actually just want to do an ingredient awareness plug, and that is that, a lot of those products that make your hair look beautifully shiny and sleek and whatnot have like silicones in them. One that I would ask people to stay away from are the cyclopentosilicones, like anything that says cyclo before the siloxane or what have you, because they don't break down in the environment. They look gorgeous on your hair, but they get into the water stream, they go down the drain, they go out into wildlife, they get into the water stream, they start killing the environment. And so do what you can. I know that it's so hard because they work so beautifully. They look so good. If you got a special occasion, of course, I'm like, go for it. But, dimethicone is better. There are some natural silicone alternatives that are also good. But yeah, a lot of those, like the biotins and the panthenols and the carrot, like all of those great ingredients for your hair that'll help, keep it the fibers strong, to your point, and nourished and more resilient, more elastic so that it doesn't break. Those are all extremely good tips.
Yeah, that was a tough one for me to understand because I, as a hairstylist, there's a lot of online conversation about silicone versus silicone free. And I was not understanding it from the point of view of the environment for a long time. And I just wanted to make clear, people, there's a lot of misinformation about silicone's effect on your hair online. And I always wanted to try to clear that up and make people feel comfortable making the decision with real information and not sort of misleading information. And then my eyes were opened by an amazing dermatologist who I met, who has a product line about the non-biodegradable side of silicone, which I was completely unaware of. I was completely unaware of that. And
because that's not your job. That's not your job. Your job is to make people look as gorgeous as they can right there while they're,
So it's tough pill. That was a tough pill to swallow for me. And I do still work with, I have a lot of silicone free options. I do still work with products with silicone, but
I love them. I used to say if I could bathe in them every day, I would, because they make everything, your skin silky. They help seal in the moisture. Good Lord, I love silicone. But it's just like if I had to choose, like I do read the labels, and anything with a cyclo in front of it, I try to avoid now.
That's very useful information. I actually didn't know that I was aware of the difference between the cyclo and the cones. I didn't know that that the cyclos were worse for the environment.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Good to know. Okay, let's see. I think that there's just one final question I have for you. Is there any advice that you give to people who don't feel comfortable with themselves, like with their skin or their hair? Like, what would you say to that person?
First of all, I would say I'm right there with you. You know what I mean? It's every day is a battle. And, fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. Half of it is delusion. Half of it is convincing yourself and believing it. And nobody, you're never going to please everyone. So you might as well just please yourself and just believe in what you're bringing to the table, whether even on your hardest day to get there. You deserve it. You deserve that level of comfort from within. And if you can't really feel it in your heart one day, friggin' fake it. Just convince yourself, and not to say of mental health, oh, get over it. I hope I'm not painting a picture of, oh, get over it in terms of like mental health struggles. But when it comes to that confidence and bringing your authentic self to the table on the days where it feels daunting, just fake it. I know maybe that's too simplified, but it's kind of
Yeah,
like,
there's actually almost a build on what you're saying, because I think that that is like, so powerful, because number one, you admitting that you're right there with everybody, because sometimes it's easy to look at celebrities or people on Instagram and TikTok and think, oh, they've got it made, and they exude such self-confidence. They never seems like you have a bad day, just because the camera might not be on when when all that is happening. And something that I had been practicing myself lately is like, I've come across a bunch of people who when they're trying to project something that in the inside they're still feeling like they're not there yet, and they're like, oh my gosh, I know that I should be faking it until I make it and then I'll get there, but they start to feel like imposter syndrome, and that unto itself is a little bit debilitating. And so one phrase that I like to use is act as if, or be it until you become it. Like, because what we want to do is give yourself that space. And I find meditation to be the best thing ever, because there's a whole lot of beauty issues that come from cortisol, from stress, from like all of these things, between hair loss and pimples and, wrinkles and all of the things that stress causes our body to go through to fight it. If you can give yourself that quiet space and meditate on your awesomeness. And the idea is that you have to be so convinced in your knowing of your worth, of your power, of your beauty, of your place in this world, of everything that is good about you. And that meditation, giving yourself those moments, even if it's just a couple of minutes, even if it's while you're in the shower or driving. I like doing driving meditations or walking meditations, walking the dog. It's just like, say these affirmations over and over to yourself again and again until it gets into your system, because then and only then will you really be able to feel more confident, no matter if you got a zit, no matter if your hair is not doing what you want it to do. It just, you find a way around it and life is good.
that's such valuable advice. And I'm so enjoy hearing that, because that saying fake it till you make it is not really giving anyone an option. Whereas what you're saying is you're giving these amazing, tangible things you can do to get to that mindset. And you're
Yeah.
so right. You're
And it's
so
funny because people are like, oh, I don't have time for that. But, you should probably dedicate like double the time if you think that you don't have time for it. It's like you're triple
true.
the time, really. Because, if your life is so busy that you don't feel in control of what your day is, that's when that that's like, oh, that check, that awareness. Oh, I am, under the influence, not over the influence, right? And
So
we always want
interesting.
to be over the influence, the influencer, not the influencee.
Yeah.
Anyway, oh my gosh, Matt, I loved speaking with you today. I hope we can stay in touch. You are such an amazing, extraordinary person. Everybody
You
follow
are.
Matt if you don't already. Matt Loves Hair on TikTok, on Instagram. You're going to see much more of him, and he always has the best tips ever.
My goodness, I have had such a blast chatting with you. Your insight and perspective and point of view on life are thrilling to me and just so fabulous. I adore you.
Oh, thank you so much.